Good morning, students. Today's topic is central problem of an economy. So what is an economic problem? As we know, wants of human beings are unlimited, but the means to satisfy these wants are limited or scarce. So it is not possible for an economy to produce everything for the individuals, because no economy has unlimited resources. So the economy has to decide how much of the resources are to be used for the development of industry or for the development of agriculture. So the problem regarding the allocation of these resources can be termed as economic problems. So basically there are three reasons due to which these problems rise. First one is unlimited wants. As we know, human wants are unlimited. So no man can satisfy all his wants to its full capacity. So at any point of time, there are innumerable unsatisfied wants. For example, a few years back, there was hardly any demand for smartphones. But today, almost every individual is keen to get one. With the passage of time, there is every likelihood of an enormous increase in demand for cell phones, computers, and costly cars. So, due to these unlimited wants, the economy has to decide which want is to be satisfied first. So, next one is limited or scarce means. So what is scarcity? When what you have is less than what you want. Basically, when the demand of resources is high as compared to the supply of those resources, then it can be termed as a scarcity. And the third one is alternative uses. As we know, the resources are limited, and these limited resources has alternative use. For example, milk is a scarce commodity. It can be used for drinking purpose. It can be used for preparing cheese, ice cream, or rasgullas. Since resources are limited, all wants cannot be satisfied. The economy has to make a choice which want is to be satisfied first and which should be rejected. So the society has to decide the use of these resources. So the alternative use of these resources causes economic problems. So next one is central problem of an economy. So what are the problems faced by economy? First one is what to produce, second one is how to produce, and third one is for whom to produce. So first one is what to produce. So what to produce has basically two dimensions. First one is what to produce and how much to produce. Firstly, the economy has to determine what kind of goods they want to produce, whether they want to produce consumer goods or they want to produce capital goods. So what are consumer goods? Consumer goods are those goods which are consumed by the end consumer himself. These goods do not help in the production of future goods like cloth, sugar, wheat, etc. They are known as consumer goods because they ends up in the hands of final consumer. So next one is capital good. So what are capital goods? Capital goods are those goods which helps to increase the future production. So the economy has to decide what kind of goods they want to produce, whether to produce consumer goods or whether to produce capital goods. Second one is how much to produce. If a firm wants, if the economy wants to produce consumer goods, more of the consumer goods, then it has to produce lesser amount of capital goods. And if the economy wants to produce capital goods in more quantity, then he has to produce consumer goods like wheat, sugar in a less quantity. So the economy has to decide how much the quantity to be produced. And second problem is how to produce. There are basically two techniques which are used by an economy. First one is labor intensive technique. Second one is capital intensive technique. Under labor intensive technique, more of the labor is used for a production, and under capital intensive techniques, more machinery or more equipments are used for a future production. So the economy has to decide what kind of technique should be used for the production of goods and services. An efficient technique, it has to decide the technique which is more efficient. So what is efficient technique? Efficient technique is that technique which produces more goods with the use of limited resources, or we can say the technique under which the output is maximum but the input is at its lowest level. So the economy has to decide whether to use labor intensive techniques or capital intensive techniques. Next one is for whom to produce. For whom to basically means whether to produce for rich people or for poor people. Social justice is promoted if more goods are produced for the poor. It will reduce inequality or promote equality. But there is a hidden cost of doing it. By producing goods for the poor, the profit of the producer will remain low. So lower profit would mean low investment, implying low gross domestic product. The economy remain backward for a long time to come. Thus there is a problem of choice, social equality or a GDP growth. So the next topic is solution of central problems in different economies. So different economies solve the central problems differently. So here are the details. First one is market economy. Market economy is that economy in which decisions regarding what, how and for whom to produce is taken by producers on the basis of market forces of demand and supply. So producer will produce those goods the price of which are relatively high because they are interested in maximizing their revenues, and they will adopt those techniques of production which use those inputs the prices of which are relatively high because they want to minimize their cost, and the producer will produce goods for those buyers who are willing to offer them maximum possible price because they want to maximize their profit. Next one is centrally planned economy. Centrally planned economy is that economy in which decisions regarding what, how and for whom to produce are taken by central government or some central authority. So unlike market economy, profit maximization is not the consideration. The main aim of centrally planned economy is social welfare. So under centrally planned economy, those goods and services will be produced which the central authority finds most useful for the society, and those techniques of production will be used which is socially most useful. So for example, in a situation of mass employment, labor intensive technology will be used so that an unemployment is reduced. Goods will be produced preferably for those consumers who are suffering from hunger or starvation, even when it implies loss in production. So centrally planned economy is that economy in which decisions regarding what, how, and for whom to be produced are taken by the central government. So next one is mixed economy. Mixed economy is that economy in which certain characteristics are of that of market economy and certain characteristics are that of centrally planned economy. So under mixed economy, decisions regarding what, how and for whom to produce are taken on the basis of market forces of demand and supply as well as on the basis of social consideration. So under mixed economy, producers are free to take their decisions with a view to maximize their profit only in certain areas, while in other areas decisions are taken entirely on the basis of social consideration. For example, in India, producers are free to produce cloth or steel to maximize their profit, but railway are the monopoly of the government. So the next topic is production possibility curve. So what is production possibility curve? Production possibility curve is a curve which shows various combinations of the amount of two goods which can be produced within the given resources and technology. So it provides the various alternative production possibilities of two goods with the given resources and techniques of production. This curve is also known as transformation line or transformation curve because it indicates if more of good X to be produced, then factor of production will have to be withdrawn from the production of good Y. So it can be explained with the help of following table and a graph. So the table 1 shows different possibilities of production of wheat and cloth. So initially when all the resources were put for the production of wheat, so the economy can produce 100 lakh tons of wheat and no resources was utilized for the production of cloth, so the production is 0. And at point E, all the resources were put to the production of cloth, so with the help of all the resources the production of cloth was 4000 bales of cloth and 0 ton production of wheat because all the resources were utilized for the production of cloth. Similarly at point B, some resources were put to the use of production of cloth, so the production of now wheat now decreases to 90 lakh tons and the production of cloth increases to 1 lakh bales. Similarly at point C, when some of the resources were again shifted or transferred to the production of cloth, then the production of cloth increased to 2000 bales, but the production of wheat comes down to 70 lakh tons. So whenever we join all these points, that is point A, B, C, D and E, a curve is formed which is known as production possibility curve. So it is a graphical representation showing all the possible options of output for two products that can be produced using all factors of production where the given resources are fully and efficiently utilized. So all the points within the production possibility curve are known as attainable combinations of output, and any point outside the production possibility curve are known as unattainable combination of output because with the given resources all these combinations can't be achieved. That is why they are known as unattainable combination of output. So the next is shifting or rotation of production possibility curve. Production possibility curve will shift or rotate under two conditions: when the resources are changed or when the technology is changed. First one is change in resources. The resources can be increased or they can also be decreased. So when the resources are increased, the production possibility curve will shift to its right direction from the initial position. So under figure 2, initially with the given resources, the production of good Y was up to point A and that of good X was up to point B. But when the resources were increased, the production of good Y increased to point A1 and that of good X, the production increased to B1. So the PP curve shifts to its right direction. In the same way, when the resources are decreased, the production possibility curve shifts to its left direction from its initial position. Initially, the resources were employed for the production of good Y and X, and with those resources, the production of good Y was up to point A and that of good X was up to point B. So when the resources were decreased, the production of good Y decreased to point A1 from point A and that of good X increased to point B1 from point B. So the PP curve shifts to its left direction from the initial point. Next one is change in technology. So the next is change in technology. Change in technology means now the economy is using efficient technology for the production of either one product or for the production of both the goods. So first one is when the efficient technology is used for the production of good X. So when the efficient technology is used for the production of good X, the production of good X will increase because the improved technology is used. So efficient technology for the production of good X would mean more production of good X with the same resources. So the PPC curve will not shift but rotate for the good X from point B to B1, but that of Y will remain same because the old technology is used for the production of good Y. So the production possibility curve will rotate for good X. Similarly, when the efficient technology for good Y is used but that of good X will remain same, now the production of good Y increased from point A to A1 with the improved technology uses. So the PP curve will rotate from point A to A1 but that of good X will remain same. But when the efficient technology for production of both good X and good Y was used, then the PP curve shift to its right direction because now the efficient technology means the production of both the good will increase with available resources. So it was all about shifting or rotation of production possibility curve. The next topic is concept of opportunity cost. So what is opportunity cost? Opportunity cost is the profit lost when one alternative is selected over another, or we can say opportunity cost refers to value of a factor in its next best alternative use. So for example, if you spend time and money going to a movie, you can't spend that time at home reading a book, and you can't spend the money on something else. So if your next best alternative to seeing the movie, reading the book, then the opportunity cost of seeing the movie is the money spent plus the pleasure you forego by not reading the book. So we can explain opportunity cost with the help of available example. Suppose a person uses land along with package of other inputs. So he has 4 alternatives available with him. So in first alternative he can produce wheat, and under second alternative he can produce rice, and under third alternative he can produce maize, and under fourth alternative he can produce sugarcane. So if he employs all the resources on the production of wheat, then he will get rupees 10,000 for his produce. And under second case, when he was producing rice, then he gets rupees 8,000 for his production. And under third alternative, when he was producing maize, he gets rupees 7,000 for his produce. And under last alternative, when he was producing sugarcane, he gets 12,000 for its produce. So he will choose to produce sugarcane because he is getting maximum when he was producing sugarcane. So the opportunity cost for a person when he decided to produce sugarcane was the profit he lost when he forego another opportunity, and in this case it is the opportunity cost is 10,000 because when he chose to produce sugarcane he lost the profit when he was deciding to produce wheat. So this is the case of opportunity cost. And the next is marginal opportunity cost. So what is marginal opportunity cost? Marginal opportunity cost refers to the number of units of a commodity sacrificed to gain one additional unit of another commodity. So if a person if the economy choose to produce good Y with available resources, then he can produce 10,000 unit of good Y but zero output for good X. But in second case, when some of the resources were utilized for the production of good X, then the production of good Y reduced to 10,000 unit, but the production of good X increased to 1. So in this case the marginal cost is the number of unit of good Y sacrificed to gain 1 unit of good X. So in this case 1000 divided by 1. So marginal opportunity cost at second point is 1000. Similarly at third point, when some more resources were put for the production of good X, then the production of good Y reduced to 7500 units and production of good X increased to 2. So in this case, to gain one more unit of commodity X, 1500 unit of good Y were sacrificed. So in this case marginal opportunity cost is 1500 units. So this was all about marginal opportunity cost and economic problems. So thank you students.